Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that takes the lead in today's edition for Friday, 30th August 2024, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago affirms that the amendment to the coat of arms would not be a financial burden. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has dismissed claims that the proposed change to the coat of arms will cost Trinidad and Tobago millions, and he said another amendment could possibly be made in time to come. More from this TTT news item.
Speaking at a post-cabinet news conference on Wednesday afternoon, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley pointed out that if the coat of arms is amended to include the steel pan, it would not be a financial burden. He said the process to change the emblem would not be done immediately, noting that there will be a transition.
You hire somebody to do the design, and so on. That there will be some little cost in that. But in terms of the replacement cost for the items that are going to be using it, like the money, or the crest in the Defence Force, or the emblem on doors of vehicles, we're saying that we could exist with both until the old one is phased out.
Dr. Rowley also rejected claims that government is solely making the change, noting this will come before the Parliament for debate.
The Parliament has to be told what the government wants to do. It is in the Parliament that the public business is ventilated under law.
He also hinted at there being a possible discussion on another element of the coat of arms.
I was Agriculture Minister when you had the consultation over what do we do with the coquelicot. You can't plant nothing in Tobago now. From sweet potato in the ground to peas on the trees. But you have a national bird. But we're not dealing with that now. Right?
But the Prime Minister said removing the Columbus ships was not being done to erase history.
Some people think because it is there, it should stay there. Others believe that by taking it off, we are saying that Columbus never came this way. No, none of those things are. We might be saying a whole lot more. Because if it is not there and something else is there, we believe that the something else would be saying more for us and about us than the ships.
And Dr. Rowley also chastised the racial undertones that have been presented following the announcement.
While people were making arguments that is an African thing and therefore is racial and divisive, the classics were won by a band led by an East Indian, the same night that making the race talk.
A designer, Gillian Bishop, has been hired to come up with several potential designs for a new coat of arms. Sonolala, TTT News.
A teen dies in suspected shark attack in Trelawney, Jamaica. Jamila Maitland of TVJ News has more.
Tears rolled down the cheeks of Michael Reed while coroners placed the body of his son in a van behind him. 16-year-old Jamari Reed reportedly went spearfishing on Monday. He never returned home. On Tuesday, his body was found in the vicinity of the Falmouth fishing village. His head and one of his arm were missing.
I'm feeling so bad, man. So bad. That's something we argue about, we talk about, we fight about. You understand? He's not doing it for heroic cause, he's not doing it for needy or anything.
The community suspects it was a shark attack. Fisherman Alistair Hines theorized that the sharks often follow the cruise ships on a Monday when they dock in the town centre. It was around that time the teen was fishing. The fisherman, who was among a group of disturbed onlookers, say while shark sightings aren't unusual, they've never attacked this close to the shore.
I went to see him, see fish, swimming, and see fish drop beside me. And as Pound drop beside me, I take him myself. I attack him, I beat him. I get a chance to move and me move.
No, man, it forced me to experience. When you about it somewhere else, but no, it forced me to see it as well.
Jamari Reed was a student of the William Knibb High School. His father says he was preparing for back to school next week. In short, sharp breaths, Mr. Reed tried speaking with us.
Trust me, it's so bad, man. This is what it is still, you know?
But even as the police and the community tried to make sense of the case, fishermen were getting ready to go out to sea. Mr. Hines, now a 71-year-old retired fisherman, gave this word of caution to the public.
Careful, look for the unexpected. Look for the unexpected and don't panic. You can't panic at sea in a coward. So you have to have the bravest mind and heart every time. You have to look out for the unexpected. When you have boat here alone, monsters coming from all along, they don't know where they're coming from. You can fish for half pound, but a bigger one will feed him. So that you have to look for the unexpected at sea.
Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
In association with our friends at
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
cyber attack focus on key industry targets. Just over 40 million attempts on Jamaica. Joel Croskill of CVM News provides some details.
You may have heard that according to the latest report emerging from the NASDAQ-traded Fortinet Threat Intelligence and Analysis Laboratory, FortiGuard, that Jamaica was the target of 4 million attempted cyber attacks during the first half of 2024, and you may have thought that figure pales in comparison to the total of 43 million threats faced by the nation last year. However, according to Carlo Colocha, regional sales manager at Fortinet for the English-speaking Caribbean, that would be a mistake.
In 2022 here in Jamaica, we had over 30 million attacks, right? And then on 2023, it increased to 43 million. So as of today, well, first half of the year, because we only get the reports for per half, we've only had 4 million. But that has nothing to do because people are just running away and not paying attention to Jamaica market. It's because those attacks are a little bit more tailored to specific industries. And they're bigger and more strategic attacks, meaning utilities, transportation, so on and so forth.
According to the report, 44% of all ransomware and wiper samples were aimed at industrial sectors, and while ransomware detection dropped by 70% compared to the first half of 2023, the evolving threat landscape was further described by Senior Systems Engineering Manager Emmanuel Oscar.
You look at healthcare. Why would I want to attack healthcare? Well, guess what? That's where the PII information, and Jamaica just actually have a data protection act. So if I was a threat actor, it makes more sense for me to get more money out of the healthcare system. And if you look at the past 10 years or so, healthcare has been the number one industry that's been under attack.
A strategy based on improving threat intelligence capabilities is touted as essential and may include leveraging machine learning and artificial intelligence to proactively monitor threats. However, as protection of digital assets now involves every part of the network surface, from hardware and software to remote devices, despite the efforts of larger enterprises to fortify themselves, considerations must also now be given to smaller businesses along their supply and value chains.
Small businesses are the weakest link, all right? And this is where where awareness and training needs to happen, because small businesses have to supply larger businesses with a service. And this is where supply chain type of attack happens. And if I'm an attacker, this is going to be my gateway to the larger enterprises. So it's very important that we make sure that the SMB market as well has a means to protect itself.
The relevance of including education and awareness programs within companies' business plans was also stressed by Ronald Donaldson, Senior Major Account Manager at Fortinet Jamaica, who notes that human error or carelessness continues to be the gateway for most cybersecurity breaches, especially through phishing campaigns that are easily avoidable if the collaborators are trained in the risks.
Phishing campaigns tend to try and provide a sense of urgency. So usually when there's a requirement in terms of urgency, money needed or some kind of asset transfer, it's always best to validate it. You go back to the who you believe the sender is and just check it. Because the issue is urgency, and the urgency prompts you to act, and your action is where the weakness is.
And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crosskill.
In this Africa News report, about 400 Kenyan officers landed in the Caribbean nation of Haiti for a multinational mission aimed at supporting the Haitian police in its fight against gangs. The latest, the United Nations has not lived up to its expectations of paying these Kenyan officers.
That families of the officers were unable to take their children to school due to a lack of pay by the United Nations, which approved the deployment to Haiti. About 400 Kenyan police officers landed in the Caribbean nation to lead a multinational mission aimed to support the Haitian police in its fight against gangs. The UN supports but does not manage the MSS mission. It established a trust fund which is facilitated voluntarily from donor countries. Main contributors are Canada, France, and the United States of America. The U.S. ambassador to Kenya deplored Tuesday the pay delay and said the officers will be remunerated by Friday. Her remarks came one day after the Kenyan National Police Service said it was working to ensure continued support to its deployed officers. It added the officers did draw their Kenyan salaries. Last September, the U.S. pledged $100 million to the mission.
The Barbados Light and Power Company estimates that it is 20 times more expensive to invest in an underground electricity network than to have one above ground. That's according to the company's Director of Operations, Johan Graves. His comments come as the hurricane season causes more attention to be focused on the resilience of Barbados' electricity supply. CBC's Crystal Hoyt has more.
The Barbados Light and Power Company says with the island at risk from more weather events, resilience is top of mind for the country's sole electricity provider. Director of Operations Johan Graves says more than half of its transmission infrastructure is already on the ground.
Barbados Light and Power has about 60% of its transmission infrastructure that is actually on the ground. And we have a small proportion of our distribution feeders that are actually on the ground. So there are some areas, so like let's say for town, for example, Swan Street, those areas are completely on the ground. St. Lawrence Gap is completely on the ground. We are continuously looking to see how we can improve the resilience of our network. So that involves putting some of the infrastructure on the ground. So even if we do not put the lines on the ground, we have been making provision for putting some of the lines in the future on the ground.
However, he says it's an expensive undertaking.
Going on the ground is a much higher cost. It's about estimates are like 20 times the cost of going overhead.
But the financial burden for Barbados Light and Power is not the only consideration.
Repairing faults takes a lot longer. So usually if there is an overhead line, we can just drive down the road and we can fix it in a matter of half an hour, that sort of thing. When we have the infrastructure on the ground, there's special equipment, there's excavation and that sort of thing that has to be done to fix an on-the-ground fault. So while there are some benefits of going on the ground, there's also some drawbacks.
Despite the drawbacks, several Caribbean utility companies have acknowledged that a completely underground network is more durable in the event of a hurricane or a storm. Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.